Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Afro Bro Cutting the Rug edition. Huh, there we go. There's the Afro Bro Cutting the Rug edition. That one's a little up there, right there. There you go. And I would like to welcome you all back on this edition. So what's going on, brothers and sisters? This is the Reluctant Navi back again, another video. And paternity fraud, right? And the first thing that came to mind is something that people used to always preach in the church out of John. A thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. And we used to say that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. All right, that was our thing. And with paternity fraud and these females that's committing this, all right, this is a crime that encompasses all of that at the same time. All right. And part of it is to steal and kill the spirit of the man. Understand this. To extort and steal resources from the man for the next 18 years. And to destroy a man by putting him into a system that should not exist anyway. And that is the paternity courts, the family courts, and the child support fraud. It is a fraud because they do not do anything in the best interest of the child. Because statistically, the best place for the child is with the biological father. All right. And this is something that the courts knew, the system knew, and the government knew the whole time. But this is an extortion racket. All right. So nothing about this is really fair. Now, I put this dancing around because this is the Maury Povich show where he does a DNA test. But in Zimbabwe, this is a different story. They started doing DNA tests, and one DNA company started to notice that 70% of the men that were coming in for the test, and I'll let you kind of see the story. These links will be in the description box. Let me greet everybody real quick. Havorten hardu gudag, ola oi to the bang, vasas los, bonjour mes amis, kedu bawani konnichiwa, ni hao ni ama, sani bonani, jambo habarigani, assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right, so let's look at something real quick. In Zimbabwe, DNA shock for men, 70% are not the fathers. All right, so what they did was they decided to go fact check this. All right, now notice that it does not say community shock. It says DNA shock. 70% not fathers, right? And so when I put up the first link, you'll see it. Look at both of the links. One is the news media giving the actual breakdown, and the other one is the people that's telling you automatically that this is false because it doesn't state a category. We'll get into that. But this number is true. But they say the statement is false on a technicality. But then in their conclusion, they say, no, this is actually false. The people did the DNA. This company did the DNA, and 70% of the respondents that rolled in there were not the fathers. Okay, but with the argument that this is a false statement is because they said, well, this may or may not be representative of the population of the whole, because the sample group was so small, right? But they weren't arguing that. They said 70% of the dudes that came in here to get a DNA test are not the fathers. Oh, but it does get worse. But the first instinct that these people had was to try to defend the women, even though they knew that these people tested and 70% of the men turned out not to be the fathers. They still tried to say, oh, it's false and not partial true or whatever. I'll show you how they tried to splice words. All right. But first, let me remind, let's get those thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. My PayPal me and my Cash App will be in the description box. All right. So let's get into this, and not before I remind you, don't donate to me if you can't. Don't donate to me if you really don't have. You always take care of yourself and family first. Because some of y'all might have gotten swindled into paying child support for a child that isn't yours. All right? Think about that. Remember, it's a scam. It's a way for women to get money from a dude that she really didn't want to be with, but she respected enough that he was going to maintain a job for 18 years. Understand the philosophy behind that in the mindset of the woman, because she really wants to be with the thugs, but she needs that guy like me that will work or have income for 18 years, that she could be assured of a check by using the child as a check. And I know this is happening to a lot of y'all, which is why I don't get too many donations. All right, but it's not going to stop the truth from coming forth. See, that's what I'm saying to y'all. It's not your financial situation is not contingent upon the truth coming forth. Because if it's not me bringing it, it'll be somebody else. Hopefully, somebody else. Because I'm not going to live forever. So with that said, let's roll on. All right. So the Herald story speaks of a sample of 11 men directed to DNA testing by the courts as a result of maintenance claim disputes over 6 months. Of these, 72% of the DNA tests were negative for paternity. All right. The H Metro story is based on figures from a DNA testing company, Global DNA. In the story, the company consultant says that they handle between 50 and 60 cases per month, and these 60 to 75% of the cases, 60 to 75% of the cases come back negative. All right, that's about 70% of Zimbabwean men that are taking care or providing for children who misidentified as theirs, either deliberately due to human error, is rated false because it lacks context. So they understand this. They say is rated false because it lacks context. In other words, they said all the numbers are true. All right. The statement then cannot be false if the numbers are true. All right. And so they say to put it in proper context, you would need more of a sample group. All right. But these people aren't arguing that. They're saying that they handle between 50 and 60 cases per month. All right. So let's take 50 because it's easy to divide up. All right. Over a 12-month period. All right. You get it? And so you will get 6 times 5 is, Lord have mercy. I forgot 6 times 5, but it's 30. All right. You will get about 300 people. Understand it. You will get about 300 people, men that come in, that's going to test false. And I don't care who you are. That's a large group. All right. But see, that is a known group. But they weren't talking about the unknown. They said we tested all these people and 70% of them came back and they were negative. So if this is true and a lot of dudes don't get tested, they're thinking that this is worse than what it is. But again, everybody is always trying to cover up the lies of the black woman. And this is the black African woman, the BAW, you know, the ones over in Africa. You see what I mean? And so you get this thing where they go in and further explain the claim is only true of men who have used the services at Expedite DNA. And so they're saying that the claim is true. So how can you say, well, it's automatically false? So they put up a statement saying that we tested people in Zimbabwe and 75% of them came up to be negative. I mean, 70% of them came up to be negative. All right, and so this guy says, well, oh, I got to cover for the female because, oh, this looks bad for them instead of, wow. All right, but fortunately on Maury Povich, you really don't have that problem because you got the dance of victory from exes, from current girlfriends that's dancing with her on behalf of her man, all right, or her brother, or whatever. You see a lot of this on Maury. All right, what does this tell you? That you got a bunch of women, the BAWs, like in the DJ Kid thing, that's laying up for every thug that come around. Why? Because nobody gives them any accountability. And so because they don't have such, they jack up the community like this. All right. Of the people that went to the DNA test in January, for a sample, 84% of the men proved not to be the fathers. So this is the second link that's going to be in. Well, I'm gonna put it in reverse. This will be the second link that's in the thing. So look at both 8 links, right? And so percent of men proved not to be the father. This is in Zimbabwe still. All right. Global DNA principal consultant Tanashi Mugabe confirmed the revelations and says many as 60 couples came in for testing every month nationwide, with the majority of testing negative. So now they did another one nationwide, and the majority, so these BAWs are lying across the diaspora because no one is holding them accountable. The majority of these people are living in the dark. They don't know if they're truly the fathers. Some of the people just have an attitude that they just want to have the test. But truth be told, the mothers have already told the real father about the child. And by not wanting to take responsibility, they will leave that other man to take care of the child, paying for school and maybe university. This sounds like the thug syndrome here. Imagine after university, he comes and says the child is his. The disappointment of child is his. The disappointment of pain, he said. All right. So this is what you have. This is the nature of relationships across the diaspora when dealing with the BAW across the diaspora. This wickedness is pervasive across the diaspora, and it is no joke across the diaspora. It is really no joke unless it's on the Maury show. Now, I want you to understand this. And even the brothers of the Caucasian persuasion are getting in on the dance, the victory dance of, I am not the dad. I am not the father. All right? She has all these dudes. I mean, look at this. This is indicative. All right? And Maury, whatever you have to say about the show, like it or loathe it, He did open up the conversation that you cannot trust a BAW at all. You can't trust the words that are coming out of her mouth. You could love them, but not trust. We used to have a saying in the Army, military, trust but verify. Trust but verify. In the United States, it would behoove you to verify whether or not you're carrying around your child or you're a sucker for some other person, because these women will do that to you. All right, and they will do it as many times as they want, because there's no downside for them. They're looking for money, and that baby is a check. So this woman embarrassed herself 41 times, and she can't find the father, but she keeps looking because there is a child support check in it. Why? Because this is all about extortion. It's never been about the best interest of the child. All right, if you're a brother in Africa or anywhere else, you better go get that DNA. And if you can't order it, get a friend in the United States to order you one off of Amazon and test for yourself before you start shelling out money for a child that isn't yours. Because there is no downside to this wicked lie for the black woman, which is why she tells it so much. There's no downside. All right. The only upside is when a man does his test and find out, you know what, it ain't mine. So they do the happy dance of joy. So with that said, it's time to bust a move and be out, because this stuff has gotten this ridiculous across the entire diaspora. For you dudes still caping for these black queens, yeah, it's all good until they do it to you. And this is why the simps are also the problem. All right. When these B films hit that wall, we need to cast out the simps too, because they will sell anybody out for less than money for just some coochie. All right. With that said, I'm out. Peace, love, and soul.